Hey there. So in this video we are going to look at how we can apply gradient box shadows to your HTML elements using CSS. So before going to look at this, we'll first look at how the normal or the regular box shadows looks like. So for this, let me just open my blog over here, and as you can see I have been using these box shadows a lot on my blog. And for instance, let me just inspect this one, and as you can see, so this particular element is using the box shadow, and this box shadow property, through this box shadow property you will be able to set a box shadow, and it has different properties over here. So you can adjust the angle of the shadow, the blur intensity, and the color of the shadow as well. This is great, but the problem with this one, this approach is you cannot actually use gradient box shadow because there is no option of using multiple colors when it comes to use box shadows using this box shadow property CSS. So this is where we will be using the gradient box shadows using a simple trick, and I will be going to show you how. So for that, let me just open a new pen, that is code pen, and first thing that I will do is I will write a container, and for this it will be div and class will be container. And next thing I will do is I will create a box inside of it, so it will be div, and the class will be box. Next thing that we will do is we will just give it both of these elements CSS, since we have applied a class over here. So the container will be a flex box, so we'll use display flex. And since we want to center this box over here, so we'll use align items center and justify content justify content center. And for box we'll be using the half of container height and width, and for this we'll use height 50%, width 50%, and we will give a color to it so that we can see it. So the background color will be, let's say, pink. So you might be wondering, why are you not able to see the box? That is because we haven't give a height over here for the container. So we'll just give a height. So the height will be, let's say, 100 VH. And now you are able to see the box which is centered in the container. What other thing that we can do is we can just give a border radius to it, and let's say it will be 10 px. Alright, let me just give it a much subtle color. Let's say it will be disk. Alright, so now we'll be working on applying that gradient box shadow, and for this we will be using the before pseudo element on this box class. Okay, and for this we'll use box and before The next thing we will do is, since this is a pseudo element, we will be using content, and we will give a blank content over here, and we'll use the same height and width for the same, and that will be height 50% and width 50%, and we will give a background color or background, let's say pink. Okay, so it will be background color. Okay, so at this point you are not able to see it. That is because we haven't given it a position, and in this case we will give it a position as position absolute, and I think there is something wrong over here. Maybe why are we not able to see it? That is, background color is pink, position, okay, that is position absolute. Okay, now you are able to see this pseudo element, and currently since we have given a position absolute, it sits on top of the box element. Now we are not going to use this color, so since we want to use the linear gradient, we will use linear gradient over here, and let's say it will be purple, green, and hot pink. Okay, and we'll just remove this color and just use the background. So now we have a background with a linear gradient. Now what we want to do is we want to move it besides the box element or box div, and for this we will use z index of -1, and that will move it besides the box. And the last thing that we want to do is we will give it a simple blur or a Gaussian blur over here, and for this we will use the filter property of CSS and use the blur function, and inside of this we will just give the amount of intensity that we want to give to this box shadow. Let's say it will be 20 px, and as you can tell, this element has this cool looking gradient box shadow around it, and yeah, that is how you can achieve these gradient box shadows for your elements. So yeah, that's about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel for to get notified about this kind of videos in the future. And yeah, until next time, bye.